Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody tonight? We're crammed into the corner here. There we go. All right. We are live. Hello. Jim perhaps is here. Hello, Jim. Cocktail hour perhaps. I got my coffee. Not my coffee. I have tea and water. I'm ready to go with some more painting tonight. Excuse me. I am Lynell Ingram, artist for Fumes art channel. And we do live streams where we do a lot of experimenting with different materials and playing around with just all the things. Draw different things, paint different things, different mediums. And sometimes I work on like some of my big art projects on the stream as well. Today I'm working on a little bit of both. It's like an experiment as well as potentially a project I'll use for something. It's a self-portrait, which is not something I'm super comfortable with usually doing, but I thought maybe I could make it kind of fun for a new header from the YouTube channel here, which right now what I have is I think. Anyway. So yes, I am an artist. I work mostly with mixed media. You can see most of my work if you go through the links on my page or in the description. If you can go to my website, see the kind of stuff I usually do, or sign up for my email. I send out emails once in a while with interesting tidbits and news. Not too often, so you wouldn't have to worry about getting bombarded. Anyway, yes, started this painting in the last stream, and here we are again. I'm gonna pick things up and keep playing around with gouache on mineral paper. And I've taken the paper off of the pad and just clipped it to my board here as a backing. The mineral paper pad, the glue isn't terribly strong to hold the pages in, which is fine, so just took it out because it was getting loose in there, and I thought I might paint or tape it down, but it doesn't even seem like that's necessary. And I'm using gouache, which not only am I not that accustomed to the paper, which mineral paper is a little bit stone, hence the mineral, but also I think a little bit of like plastic binder. So there's no wood products at all in it, or cotton. It makes for a very interesting, almost vellum-like surface. It's a little, I wouldn't say heavier, but it has a different weight to it than vellum does. It's not translucent at all. And paint, it's very smooth. Like the paint just sort of slides around on it. So with the way that I'm painting with gouache, which I'm not super experienced with yet either, it's like, it feels like it's hard to get a nice solid cover with it. See a lot of brush strokes, so everything needs a couple of layers. So yeah, I'm gonna continue working on this. And I have Arteza gouaches right now. They're acrylic gouache, as opposed to what they call designer gouache, which I think is in more of a kind of a water-based suspension. So pros and cons to any of the different things that you might use for it. I'm going to go ahead and start laying out my palette here. I just have a paper palette on the side. I'm literally using the same one I used last time. I just folded over the side of it so it wouldn't distract me. So I did a lot, mostly the face and skin tones last time during stream. Since the stream, I've added a little bit more like some hair stuff and some background pink. So that was just, you know, a little bit here and there, working on things as time allowed. But I do have a few things I still would like to refine in the flesh tones and the face. And then continuing to work, do the cup of coffee, and so on. So yeah, I know that. Did I get out white? Yep. I seem to be going through a lot of white paint on the last one. I will probably need to get more of some gouaches soon. I kind of need to make a paint run relatively soon in general. And it gets a little crazy when you kind of work with a lot of different mediums, because I'm working with gouache now. I'm doing mostly like experimenting and learning. I started kind of doing the same thing with oil paints, because even though I did go to art school, I never really worked with oil paints until very recently, because I majored in the design side, the illustration, so everything was about working with quick drying mediums or what? Or digital. That's the word I was looking for. Okay, so yeah, just all experimenting, but I'm also getting low on the acrylics, which are kind of, acrylics and watercolor are my kind of go-tos normally. Weird. Oh. So there's a few colors that I'm running low on in, well, I think my watercolors are okay, but the acrylics for sure. And then as I'm using and playing around with my gouaches, I'm using them. So that's the fine line to walk, you know. It's art supplies can be pricey, but you have to have them to learn them and use them before you're going to be really great at them. So it's like I didn't buy the most expensive stuff there was to start with. I didn't go with the cheapest either. I went with kind of a middle line thing that had pretty good reviews. So I tried the Artesas. They had a good sale on them earlier this summer. And that's what we are attempting to work with. And honestly, I don't have much of I don't have anything to compare it against, because this is my first time really working with it. At least since college. I guess I did work with some classic gouaches back in the day when I was in art school. My freshman year, I remember using it in color theory classes, in the sense that we were doing like illustration board with taped out grids and then one color value studies and things like that. And at that time, I remember just not really caring for them, not liking the flatness of them, the matteness. But a lot of years between here and then, and now, quite honestly, I rather enjoy it. I find it interesting. It's very similar to acrylic, but not quite. More pigmented, matte, of course. Just definitely a bit interesting. Just trying something different, even though it's not so drastically different as it is to go and try to learn oil paints, which really is like a whole different approach. It's having to learn how to think about things in a very different manner. Okay, I have some neutral tones over here. I don't know how much I'm gonna need them, but I'll just keep them to the side for now. All right, there. That is going to be my palette. Okay, let me see if I made matcha tea. Now that is a green I can get behind. Why does every color of green out of a tube look so unnatural? It just, they're too blue, they're too clean. This is the kind of green I want in my paint colors. I mean, I know how to mix it, but still. I know, at least with acrylic paints, one of the best ways, a really great way to get this kind of green is just some yellow and black. It's still very hot. My glasses are fogging up. Okay. Now, what to start with? Maybe I'll start with a mug and kind of work my way back into, like, if I can at least get some base layers down on most areas, then it's kind of sort of tweaking everything all at once and I can see how things are affecting each other. So I think I'm going to go that direction at this point. So I guess I need to think real quick here about what color I want the mug to be. Maybe I could stay in the kind of pastel-ish tones and go with a violet color. Or maybe I can do, well, here's the thing. It's like, you got to think about what you want to be the most impactful high contrast area of the painting. So if I go in a completely like very dark color where it's going to be the darkest thing, then this could very easily be the most intense point that you're drawn to. Because it's also fairly solid. There will be some highlights and shadows, but it's a fairly just geometric shape. So I kind of want like this area to be the most contrast heavy. So having the kind of contrasting colors of my yellow glasses to my kind of navy blue purplish hair. I like that. I like that contrast against the lighter skin and etc. whatever. So if I don't want this to be as high contrast, then maybe I will just go with a violet. That was kind of my first inclination, and I suppose I will just trust my gut on that. Why not? See what happens. And yeah, definitely, it really definitely needs like a 2-coat. And I don't know if that's just this paint in general or if that's this paint on this paper. I did use some of this paint on some canvas. I think it was like a canvas sheet, gessoed canvas sheet. And that, I don't think that I noticed as much like the need to have multiple layers, but I don't know. It didn't stick out to me anyway, for whatever that's worth. I think I did do multiple layers. Well, whatever. I'm gonna just start putting down this kind of mid-tone primary color for it, and then work back with highlights and shadows and fun stuff. And last of all, once I get some of that laid in, decide what color I want my shirt there to be and keep going along. Not particularly great at either painting or drawing straight lines, but you know, highlights aren't always exactly. Depends on your light source, how straight or sharp they are, I suppose. And I am working off of a photo a bit, like more or less I am, but I'm also taking a lot of liberties with it. Trying to make it a little bit more interesting. I was playing around before the stream earlier today, with trying to do a like a green screen background behind me so that I could take up less of a corner and it would just be me without the background in this box from the other camera. And I don't actually have a green screen, and nor would it be terribly easy to set it up in the way that my room is at the moment to be right behind me. So I was trying these different plugins and things to give you the like effect that you can get. Like if you're using Zoom and other platforms like that, you can kind of fake a green screen effect and pop in different backgrounds. So I was kind of messing around with that, and it was all very terrible. It was very terrible. And for the moment, I had to give up on it, but I don't think it's the worst idea. There's a few times I've played around with having different types of kind of overlay elements. when I'm doing my sketchbook streams where I have a drawing that we're working from or a reference that I'm working from, I put those up. But other than that, I don't know. I haven't seen something or come up with something that seems like it's that useful or helpful or anything in terms of taking away the space that is just what I'm doing on the table. But anyway. Alright. That is the mid-tone. I can mix some highlight, I suppose. Just keep things pretty simple. That didn't do much. Okay, more white. Also, I'm not one to paint super graphically. I think a lot of people who work with... There's a lot of people who work with gouache. It starts with a G. That's just my brain crossing wires. People who work with gouache, I see a lot of folks work fairly graphically, where, you know, painting very clean shapes in their work. And I just don't tend to work that way. At least not anymore. But I think you can do it however you want to do it, right? Why not? Or at least try it different ways and see. It definitely lends itself to like a flat application. Because of the matteness and the opacity of it. I don't think it's necessary. I have yet to like really figure out where I really like this as opposed to any other medium. Like how I will use this one in an effective way. Yet to be determined, but hey, that's part of the learning process. You gotta try things before you know things. Deep Thoughts with Lynell, coming at 8. And maybe neutralize up a little shadow tone. Not too neutral, not going for like brown or mud water. Let's see how that looks. Exceptionally gray, that's how that looks. Okay. I might need some black on the palette. Yeah, that's doing a whole lot of not much. What we got? I don't have a color that I tend to really like to work with in acrylic is my dioxazine purple, and I don't have that one in gouache, not with the set that I bought to start with, so that might have to get added to the list of colors to get, besides also white. And I should be writing these things down somewhere because I don't remember them until it's like, you know, when you need it, you remember it. But not when you're in a position to take care of that need. That's the story of my life. Yeah, that's working a bit. Yeah, this is the darkest purple I have in this set. And I can certainly mix some too, but just kind of want to be able to... I guess I'm trying to make it work the way that I expect my other mediums to work, and that might be the wrong approach. It might be. Just maybe. Okay, we'll need more layers for sure. Grab a rag from my rag pile. I really tried to cut back on how many paper towels I use in the studio, and I have taken to using, like, anytime there's an old towel, hand towel, dish towel, any kind of towel, or like an old pillowcase that's just beyond good use, like it's developing holes and things like that, cut them up into pieces and use them as studio rags, which actually works great. Works really well. Love having them. And it's much less trash to be throwing away. So a little bit greener, I guess. It's a good thing. Try to not be so wasteful. All right, I think as far as the mug itself, that's fine for the moment. Move this closer to me. My water cup thing, which I use a very, very well used mason jar. And a warning about having mason jars as you're mixing, not mixing, but water for painting. I used to have 2. Now I have 1. Guess what happened to the first one? Especially if you watch any of my streams. You probably have a pretty good idea. Yep, I dropped it and broke that sucker. And fair warning about using glass for anything in the studio, especially if you have any propensity to be a little clumsy. Spatial awareness is a gift. There. And I might add some steam coming up off of that in the end if I decide to. Perhaps. Okay, so I got a color for the mug, more or less. So then the shirt should be not something that draws a lot of attention. So not super high saturation. Not too dark. Arrow set, hello. Hello, hello. Good morning to you. Good evening for myself or anyone. 7 p.m. It's been a long, dreary, rainy day here in the Midwest, and kind of love it. Kind of also makes me sleepy and tired. Yeah. But yeah, that's what we're up to. Still working on this painting. Yeah, what's everybody else working on today or this week? Any interesting creative projects? Or new things, or wrapping up old things, or anything? What do you guys got going on? I am hoping to wrap up some projects this week, maybe. I've been hoping to do that for a while with most of them, though. So it may or may not happen. I was trying to list all the paintings that I've started and haven't yet quite finished, and it's a lot. You know what? I might use the screen color, maybe. We'll lay some of it down and see. I'm gonna need more, if that's what I'm gonna do, but let's just start laying that in and see what it looks like. Yeah, I think I have 5. Wait, I can just kind of look around and see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paintings in oh, 6. There's another one. Whoa, that looks bright on the camera. Okay, that is not the color we are using. Yeah, look at that green. It's funny, in person it looks more minty, but on camera it's like fluorescent, which is actually kind of cool, but definitely not what I'm going for here. Hard week this week, so throwing myself into gaming and art. I've been playing with my new acrylics. Yay! Well, playing with new art supplies. It's best. And Jim making bread at a makerspace. Oh, cool. We are going to have our beer brewing club, but they all decided to stay home. Oh. Yeah, crappy weather will keep people inside. It makes you feel like it's a good day for a nap. That's what this weather does. It's like, just maybe you don't really do anything. All right, let me see if I can chill this color out and make it workable or not. We'll see what we can do with it. That might work. It's Gia Rad to the rescue. Okay. Oh. Sorry. Keep hitting the as always, hitting the microphone with my brush. No, maybe. Oh. Try something here. Oh, okay, then it's right in the camera too. Okay, let's try some things. Let's try to see if we can make this work a little bit. Maybe that's all right. Okay. I think I got the microphone out of the brush's way and out of the camera's way, although it is casting a very odd shadow. Who would have thought? Maybe? Okay, we're gonna try this. Although that blinds me a little bit where the chat is. Okay. Okay, that. Stay put, you lamp. All right. Yeah. Let's see. Ah. Every day is a good day for a nap, yeah. Instead of beer, I'm having a martini. Bombay Sapphire with Camel Extra Liqueur, A+. Nice. Sounds pretty good. I sometimes think about... I'm not the biggest cocktail drinker. I do like a beer here and there. Not a big wine drinker either. But I lately... Like, I really have to feel a certain way. Like... physically, I have to be like in a really good good way to be able to like have a drink of any sort without feeling very terrible. And my stomach has definitely been giving me the runaround. At least for sure today it has. So, just sticking with the tea for now. And also prone to migraines very easily, which is very frustrating and makes things even more sensitive and having to be careful. Got you in my ears, currently on my way to an appointment, so won't be chatty today. You're welcome. Well, hope your appointment goes well. I know kind of middle of the work day, the regular day for you over there. Always things to get done. Always places to be. I'm always really happy when I have days when I don't need to leave the house. Today was one of those. Those don't happen nearly enough in my book. And then you do have a day where it's like, oh, great, I can get so much done today. I should be able to get so much done. I'm at home. And then the weather will be crappy and then you get a migraine or some ridiculous thing the world throws at you. Story of my life. Oh well. Do the best you can, when you can, always. It's the best we can do. Yeah, today's Monday. It could be because of being out a lot yesterday. I did go to the Renegade Art Fair. Craft Fair. Art and Craft Fair? Kind of both, mostly craft. There was no dry vermouth, so I improvised. Kumail has a caraway, cumin, and fennel. Well, that sounds pretty good to me. I wouldn't know the difference, to be honest, so heck yeah. Yeah, the Renegade Craft Fair is one I really enjoy. A friend of mine, we meet up and go there every year for, I don't know how many years we've been doing that now. Quite a few. And it's not as hot now. I think the high yesterday was only like 79 degrees. So not crazy, but the sun was pretty intense. So it's a lot of walking. Because we, of course, go through it a couple times. You know, you have to do your once over, decide if there's anything you want to go back for, and yeah, sweating because the sun was just super intense. Not super in love with the shirt. It will get cropped about here in the end, probably. And that being the case, it's gonna be fine. I think it will be fine then. On Sunday, I had the option of the Printers Row Lit Fair on the American Science and Surplus Warehouse sale. Oh man. Well, there's a choice. Now, I've never been to the Printers Row Lit Fair, and I haven't been to the warehouse sale, but I am familiar with American Science and Surplus Warehouse, and that place it's a trip. It's pretty awesome. And I don't know, how would you describe that? It's like, it's been a really long time since I've been there. It's surplus of things, like, you can find scientific equipment there, but then also all kinds of things. Like, it's really, like, mechanical bits. If I had to guess which one you did, I would say the warehouse sale. But and tell me if I'm wrong. That sounds like it would be pretty cool. I can pull this green color up for the eyes a little bit, and then it's not so on its own out there. I will fix that, but that eye color is not entirely accurate. I'm definitely more of a hazel green, but you know, we'll add some more stuff and tweak it up a bit. You know, the things. All right. Bingo, yeah. Man, I haven't been there in years. When I lived in Milwaukee, I would go to the one that was there once in a while. Just, I mean, if you work with assemblage or sculpting things or building stuff, that place is just, it's the coolest. I honestly haven't thought about it in so long. I would actually write that down and like make a point to visit it sometime before the end of the year. American Science and Surplus. Yeah, that place is so interesting. And I've been experimenting with adding different levels of assemblage and things into my work, and honestly, just things that they have that would work great for working with art supplies and stuff. It's a fun place to be. And back in the day, when I was kind of interested in comic books and stuff, it was in Milwaukee next door to this huge comic book store, which I don't know if it's still there. Scientific equipment, that's rad. That'd be perfect for dioramas I'd want to do. Yeah, that's like for creative work, for building stuff, or any of that. It's just fun. Super, super cool stuff. Fun places to explore. It's also like, it's kind of, I love to occasionally just randomly go to like resale shops and things like that too. If you know of good ones that I used to know, there's been a lot of changeover. There was a period where there was one that I would go to during my lunch breaks at a last job that would get a lot of donations from stores of things that were imperfect or I don't know, all kinds of random stuff, and it was just so much fun. And you never knew what you would find. I think I got some like imperfect, really random La Crusade stuff there before. Brand new, but like maybe had a tiny chip in a corner or was like an off color or something. But things like that would end up at this funky little resale shop. And it's just, when you learn about places like that, it's so much fun. They're not there anymore, which is super sad, but they haven't been for a long time. So just reminiscing here at the moment. All right. So now we can start going back in and making corrections and adjustments and all kinds of things. And definitely, this is not an accurate portrayal of my hair yet, because what my hair is much more along the lines of a mullet at the moment, because I'm trying to grow it out. And it's the worst. It's so hard. It feels like I've been trying to grow out my hair for years. And technically I have, because every time I start it, I get frustrated and cut it all off again. So truly it has been probably a couple of years, I think, that I've been working at this. And you can chuck that up to some level of impulsiveness, because I also always cut my own hair, so it's like the urge strikes and I'm just gonna grab my scissors and go into the bathroom and start chopping away. Always a good plan. Yeah, place for tinkers, mad scientists, and makers. Lab equipment, telescopes, electrical gizmos. Yes. Absolutely. So much fun. And if you don't walk out of there with at least a couple of ideas, then, you know. I like the chaos of her hair, I say, as I ride an escalator. I love it. Chaos indeed. And there's always that desire to try things, to learn new things, to experiment with new mediums and art forms and creative outlets. And I'm guilty of all of it. Nothing to regret about it, except that there's just never enough time, energy, and money. And that is the most frustrating, I think, part of it. But yeah, I had finally set up a sewing machine that I've owned for 20 years. Finally figured out how to use it. And made a shirt, which is great as long as you don't look very closely. And I have all these other ideas of things I'd like to try to experiment and make with it. Things I'd like to try doing. And I even, you know, sometimes go and buy the stuff to do it. I have some extra fabric. I have a couple of shirts that I bought from the resale shop that I want to play around with. Kind of, I have all these ideas in my mind of kind of remixing stuff. But yeah. Setting up the machine is a whole deal because I don't have a dedicated space where it can be. Really, if I set it up, it's going to be at the dining room table, because that's really the only large flat surface that isn't covered with things that aren't really negotiable, like my computer desk. I'm probably not gonna take my computer off of there to set up the sewing machine, because I need my computer pretty much every day to do work and things. So it's always just, when can I dedicate the time? When do I actually have the energy to follow through? All that stuff. And I keep reminding myself that I only need to worry about till here on the picture. If even, honestly, but that's my intention, is to crop it about here. So I keep painting more than I need to, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I also this weekend dropped off some artwork. I joined an art guild that's not super close to me. And one of the things they do, 8 members show, I think a couple times a year, a few times a year maybe. And I'm participating in that. That's kind of like the first thing I'm doing with this group. And drove out on Saturday morning to drop off the piece for that and realized that, ooh, that drive, that kind of stinks, but I need to not let that be an excuse for me to not do things, to not participate, to not follow through, because that can very easily become the case. And I need to be much better about those things than I have been. No excuses. Or at least less excuses, let's be real, right? Best part about hair is that it grows back. Indeed it does. Just takes a while sometimes. I'm trying to maybe get out of a situation you've created for yourself. Yeah, I don't know, it's fine. I remember one of the first times I cut my hair short while when I was dating my partner, and an aunt of theirs saw me, and she was kind of amazing. She was so very blunt about everything. She just didn't care. And she's like, she saw the new haircut I had, which I thought was great, and she's like, it's okay, it'll grow back. Like, oh man. It's funny, people. It made me laugh. Yeah, it's a little better. And then, yes, there's always hats. That's why you so often see me wearing like a hairband or a bandana around my hair. Because, you know, it's just out of hand most of the time. And I'm not a big fan of having to take a lot of time to like do it. Like you're... I'm trying to think of a context in which I would do this. Like, you know, you wash it and then you put the product in it and then you blow dry it into a shape and use the other product and whatever. Like, these are not things that I have the desire or the energy to care about or... Oh, that was dark. Okay. Or succeed at, particularly because I don't care enough to like get decent at it, you know? Does that make sense? It just isn't that like, I want it to be simple. It isn't that important to me. I'll just tie it back if it looks particularly bad. I mean, I don't want to look like a complete schmuck when I leave the house, but I also just... the amount of energy I'm gonna put into it, like, I just have to be real. It is what it is. As I keep sticking my hand in the wet paint, as I do. At least I'm not hitting the microphone anymore with a brush. So, you know, you gotta take the wins as they come. All right, what was I doing here? Okay, yes. Ooh, that's dark. By the time I got home yesterday from being outside, I was quite tired. And we just kind of relaxed and watched a couple of movies, which is always fun to talk about. One was Solace. With Anthony Hopkins. I think it's about 6 years old or something, 6, 7 years old. And it's kind of, I guess, a crime thriller with a supernatural element to it. Overall, okay. I really enjoyed Anthony Hopkins in it. I think he's pretty awesome, by and large. And what else? Then we watched Good Night, Mommy, which was interesting in a lot of ways. And again, kind of walks a line of, was it actually good? But it was really interesting in how it set up a premise and then it ends up being something completely different in the end. And I don't want to give spoilers in case anybody's actually going to watch this film, but yeah, it sets up this tremendous unease. See, now that's actually pretty accurate to what my hair is right now, and I have mixed feelings about painting it at all. Like, is that what I want to paint? Like, what I kind of... it is what it is. Yeah. That movie, Goodnight Mommy, it touches a little bit on like some trauma stuff. The things that were the twists, I did end up kind of catching them a lot sooner than I would have liked to, I think. But I think I would recommend it because of the way it twists, the way that it becomes just, it's an absolutely dismal ending. Oh, Aeroset, bye. Sorry I missed if you were already gone. Have a great day. And yeah, anyway, the movie, I would say it's got a very, very kind of dismal ending. Just, you know, the kind of ending of a movie that almost makes you feel sick to your stomach. It's like, did it have to be so awful, you know? But at the same time, kind of fascinating in that way. So, yeah, like the things that the brain will do to protect itself is kind of basically what it gets into. It's an interesting watch. Not a super long movie. I hate it when movies are 2 or 3 hours long all the time now. Just isn't necessary. Not everything has to be an epic. But that's just me. Apparently I seem to be not in the majority on that opinion. Made it look like my hair is extremely curly, and it isn't. It just has the weirdest waves going in all the wrong directions. Certainly not making it better. Okay. The irony of all of that being that's pretty much exactly how, like, I'm painting my hair like almost exactly how I feel about it. I think the only thing I like about it is the color. Okay, anyway. I don't need to have this all figured out right now. Just kind of glitch it out a little bit. Because also it changes constantly, so by making it a little bit more vague, that might be more, it might be more evergreen that way. As far as a portrait of me would go. And it's also appropriate in a way that it has a reflection going on of, like, what's underneath. I've still been going back and forth on to whether or not I want to add any collage. Like, I would kind of actually really like to add some collage elements, and I'm just not sure how this paper is going to handle it if I do. So that's the only potential concern, is that if I start adding some things, it might just... I don't know. I'm concerned about the paper handling it. I guess I can just leave it at that. I don't know. I guess that's all I have to say. I haven't decided. I might just do a painting, the full painting, get that to where I'd want it, get it photographed and everything, and then experiment more with kind of just weighing down this paper. To make that work, if it's going to be anything heavy, I almost think I would need to mount this paper on something. It's very... I don't even know how to describe it. It's almost like this fluidness about it where it just, like, it just hangs. Like, it itself, it's rather thin, but there's a heaviness to it. So I'm not certain how delicate it actually will be, though. So it'll just be some very careful and deliberate experimenting when I get to that point. And meanwhile, just because I think this will help with me seeing things the way I want to, I think I'll just fold up the bottom for now. Just to give myself like that actual, like, this is where the bottom is gonna be. Okay. And I need to get a few spots of some darker skin tone. just for some little shadowy bits. And that's a little better, but it's fascinating to me how I've been painting with the gouache, because it's not how I normally paint, to be kind of just super messy in the application. I don't know why, it just seems to be how I feel working with it, how it's coming out. How it feels like it goes down when I'm painting with it. It's very random. Something I'm not necessarily very deliberately doing, just seems to be coming out. And what am I thinking now? I definitely need to do more work around the eyes, that's for sure. Hmm. That might be a little too much. Yeah, definitely over here that's too much. That's alright, easy fix. And then a little more shadow right there, I suppose. And the hair. This is like my skeptical face. Which is like my normal face, I think, most days. Wait, what's going on? What's going on? What are you talking about? Why are we talking about that? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But it's definitely... Yeah. I mean, if you know me, you've seen me. Are you sure? Am I sure? I'm usually not sure. That's pretty much exactly what it is. I feel I probably gave myself too long of a chin. That's a real possibility. Nope. Not dark enough. Trying to match colors that you did like last week can always be a little tricky. That seems not quite. I don't know. I'm trying to look at what the camera sees on my computer to try to get this right down, like looking directly down at it, because I'm a little bit of an angle, so probably not quite nailing anything in terms of proportions. Yeah, this kind of makes me laugh. And I really don't mean to get like hung up on making things perfect. So I'm not trying to make a like photorealistic rendering with this. Just it's almost more, it's a little bit more caricature kind of a thing. I think that's a fair assessment. All right. Maybe get a much smaller brush out and try to finish, like, my eyes, I guess. We'll do that. Like some of the more finer details. What do we got here? What do we got? What do we got? I need to blow up my reference here. No, that's a frightening picture if ever I've seen one. I imagine that the reason we find it difficult to paint ourselves is the same reasons that people tend to have difficulties kind of doing just people faces at all when you start with it, is that we're fairly familiar with our own faces, right? And so we know when it doesn't look right, but at the same time, I think we also sometimes aren't that familiar. We're used to what we see in the mirror and in our heads, whether that's accurate or not. And yet I have known some people who, like, you know, their entire thing is doing self-portraits, so obviously not everybody's uncomfortable with it, or maybe you've just been doing it for so long you've gotten over it, or it just isn't apparent anymore, maybe. Definitely never been particularly comfortable with it myself. And at least a little bit more so comfortable with it if I'm doing it in like a not so realistic way, though, for sure. Like this. Because it's not so serious, and I don't feel like I need to, like, my work tends to be quite serious, like my fine art work, and I don't know, that's all my seriousness comes out there. That to put that into a self-portrait that I'm doing feels too much? Too obvious? Maybe? I don't know. I just would rather not. make it very serious. I mean, I have used myself as a reference out of, I guess we'll say necessity, just lack of having access to like images that when I want something specific. But I don't prefer to do that. And when I do that, I tend to prefer to kind of like obfuscate the fact that it is me, at least a little bit, that I've used myself. And as creators, I don't know if everybody would agree with this. I kind of feel like almost everything we create is somehow a reflection of ourselves, unless you're just purely doing like a craft type of approach to something, which can be absolutely artisanal too. I don't say that to like discount anything like that. I'm not saying that to demean anything at all. But just in the sense that sometimes when you're making a thing, whether it's a product or an artisanal product, a craft product, whatever, it's based more about the skill than perhaps I don't know. Don't listen to me. I just wonder, like, about that, though. I do kind of feel like there's... that at least to some extent, we put ourselves into our work. Some things are more obvious, maybe, than others. Or easy to pinpoint. But yeah, just a random interesting thing to think about a little bit. Eyeballs looking a little flat. Paint on my palette is starting to get a little bit dry, which is always a point of frustration because it doesn't mix or flow as nicely. Only lost some contrast there. Just running out of white paint and trying not to have to add too much more onto my palette. Oh, that eye got weird. What happened there? Okay. Little push and pull going on, trying to get it right. We're getting there. A little bit, kinda. More white. Gotta use more white. That's where I really seem to be kind of like losing things, is when I'm trying to work around adding more paint to the palette. Will Watson be in the painting? You know, that's not a terrible idea. Kind of like that. He does kind of make himself a part of pretty much everything that goes on around here. The boss man, boss cat. I'm liking this eye much more than this one so far. Not quite getting it where I want it to be yet. The last time actually that I did a self-portrait deliberately was about 18 years ago-ish? God, is it that long? Maybe, yeah. Yeah, probably. And the cat that I had at the time, I did put into that self-portrait too. I'm sure that, I'm sure Freud would have something to say about that. Don't care. I think I see what I've done. I think I see what I've done here. Ugh, too wet. There it is. I messed up the size of my eye, following the wrong lines. That definitely can happen when you are doing a lot of like correcting things and trying to readjust. Follow the wrong shape or something, and then suddenly everything's off and you're struggling to figure out why. It happens. Definitely helps in those cases to just have a really good drawing that you're working off of set up. That makes a lot of difference. The stronger your drawing, the easier time you'll have painting, of course, and just yeah, working into things with a little bit of a plan can be helpful. I'm seeing something else that I would like to correct now, also. And I don't know if I had this right in my initial drawing or not. I honestly do not know at this stage anymore. Alright, a little bit more of that outline again with the shadows. It might be dangerously close to overworking this part at this point. All of a sudden, I have a song stuck in my head that I'm not entirely sure where it came from or why, but sometimes things just pop up in your brain for whatever reasons. And for me right now, I have a Spin Doctor song running through my head. Cannot tell you why or where it came from. Actually saw them perform not far from here some years ago at a festival, community festival, which is like the sort of thing that seems to happen to bands when they're not very relevant anymore, but they're still trying to hold on to something. Anyway, super 90s flashback right there. And you're welcome. If I just gave you an earworm. Okay, I'm almost done redoing this for the 500th time. We're really close to being good enough. Yep. I think we're just gonna leave it there. At least for now. Right, and I think another thing I'd like to do, I mean, there's a lot of areas that still need some work. Obviously, I got to paint in a background color. But The glasses. I just need some areas that are a little more buttery colored than the rest of the yellow to be kind of highlights. I think I was kind of leaning almost all the way up the side of the camera there for a second. Don't really know why, but that was a thing. Okay, I think that's better for highlight, and I do probably want to go back in then and then add a better, clearer shadows too. Perhaps. I might kind of sit on that one a little bit. And decide after sleeping on it, I guess. I've always thought it's really kind of difficult to mix a really nice purple that I've been happy with just straight from like reds and blues. Rarely ever get a shade that I'm particularly happy with. be getting pretty close to calling it a day here. If I were going to work on this much further, I would really need to be putting down like entirely fresh paints pretty much, because these are just getting too like hard dried out. Yeah, they're getting quite dried out, which makes them difficult to work with, difficult to mix. And I think I'm kind of like reaching that point where it's like, you know, when you start to get tired or fatigued of working on something and, you know, just getting a little sloppier with it. And it can be really hard to recognize that, because you often just want to like push through and make more progress on something, but once in a while, you gotta just be willing to accept that you're in a state of like diminishing returns with what you're creating. So it happens, and it's okay. And if it weren't the end of the day and I was getting to this point, then maybe I would just like switch up what I'm specifically working on. Like, okay, well, I might be kind of losing my focus on working on this painting, but I could go on and maybe instead spend time working on, you know, maybe some computer work I have to get done, or yeah, things along those lines, using shifting modes. Walking away for a while is sometimes the best thing you can do for anything you're working on. And certainly stepping back from things, which is kind of hard for me to do when I'm sitting here working on it on stream, but when I do step back from this, when I try to look at the computer screen or such, that kind of helps, but there's definitely a difference of how you see things and when you do that or when you do not. Changing your perspective and what is happening here? Yeah, see, like I said, sometimes you just reach a point where it's like, yeah, no, I'm just kind of making things worse. So let's stop doing that. Yeah. We are there. Tune in Thursday to find out what you're looking at. Maybe. Maybe. I love it. All right, but yeah. Almost made it to 2 hours without completely losing my mind on it. But a decent amount of progress. I think I fixed a few things and laid down some things that I was struggling with, and probably created a few more messes for myself to fix the next time I come back to it. I'm not sure. I'm gonna probably try to get this finished before the next stream on Thursday, maybe. I might, it'll depend. So I can try to either finish this on Thursday, or we'll just go on to work on a different project, and I'll just, you know, keep you posted on how this goes and how it's coming along, or just when I get it posted up as a new header, if that ends up being the case. So yeah, here we are, and I'll be back Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Central, And yeah, that's that. Everybody have an awesome night, week, and all those things. I hope you have all the creativity and inspiration to keep going. Thank you for keeping me company while I struggle through my own project here. And yeah, have a good one. I'll see you next time, hopefully Thursday. Don't forget.